What's going on, guys? It's Zed for me, and today we're going to be installing RallyArmor mud flaps onto the Subaru WRX STI. So as you can see, this is my 2010 WRX STI wagon. If you guys remember from one of my earlier videos, I installed RallyArmor mud flaps onto the Golf R. And as you can see here, I currently have my summer setup on, so there's no mud flaps. During the wintertime, I add back on the RallyArmor mud flaps to kind of keep all the dirt and grime and the road salt and the snow from getting the car dirty. As you can see here on the STI, it could certainly use some mud flaps. That is probably what the mud flaps are gonna, help with. On the Golf R, I found that they definitely help out a lot. And what's cool about the Golf R and the way it's designed with the RallyArmor mud flaps is that it's actually really easy to take on and off the brackets and whatnot. On the STI, however, it's a little bit more involved. As you can see here, there's actually not much in the way of like easy to remove brackets. So what I actually noticed is that the previous owner of this car had RallyArmor mud flaps, but they only had it on the rear. You can actually see that there is already a bracket here, and I noticed this bracket and I was wondering what it was for, and I realized after the RallyArmor mud flaps came in that it's actually the same one that's here in this box right here. So what that tells me is that the owner, previous owner at least, put the RallyArmor mud flaps on the back, but they actually didn't put it on the front. I suspect the reason why is because installing this onto the front is actually a little bit more difficult. You actually have to remove a little bit more trim than you would expect, which is why I'm guessing that they only put the RallyArmor mud flaps on the back. Certainly, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to be installing it here in the front as well. And I think it'll look good in the wintertime when both of my hot hatches have RallyArmor mud flaps to kind of complete the look. So this here is the package, and I really love RallyArmor packaging. They always do it really nicely, and I love how they make it very clear. Don't break the seal if you have a sedan. This is for the hatches only because they do have different designs. Now, like I said, their packaging is always really nice. So I really like opening up their packaging and like seeing what's inside. The installation instructions are super easy to understand, and the ones that I got in particular were these black ones with the silver lettering. I actually didn't want like the red ones that people usually get for these cars. I want it to be a little bit less showy. Of course, on the Golf R, I had the blue lettering to match with the car. On this STI, there's nothing with white lettering, so that's why I went with the silver, or I guess you call it like a little bit of a gray lettering. So since the rear ones have already been installed in terms of the bracketry, it's actually really simple. I'm going to actually throw on the ones in the back, and then I will show you guys how to do the ones in the front. So if you take a look, this bracket right here, this one's for the rear, and this car already has it here in the rear. It's a little bit difficult to install with the actual wheel and tire mounted already, but I'm going to do my best to show you how I'm going to do it myself. So all right, let's get this rear one mounted on. Okay, so first of all, it looks like out of the two different types of flaps that you could see here, the larger one is the ones that go in the back, and the smaller ones are the ones that go in the front. Now the rear here, in order to put this bracket in, all you have to do is go underneath the car here and take out a fastener. Once you take out the fastener, you'll be able to slide this metal bracket in. And what you do after that is you add these supplied clips, and you just put this. Let's take a look at the instructions, which are very clearly laid out. You take the supplied clips, and it says rear view here, and basically you just put this in so that your metal bracket, you have something to actually attach to. So that goes like there, and then you put another one into the other mounting point location, which is below right here. And what this essentially does is it gives an area for your eventual screw or fastener to hold, be able to hold on to something. And from that point forward, let's see, just following the instructions here basically. So it says place clip over inside mounting point of bracket. So there's a different type of clip for the inside of that. All the clips are nicely packed in here. Okay, so you just use a similar clip out over here, like so. It's just giving something the screws to hold on to. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna align this, and all you have to do is put a washer. It says short screw, large washer. So we'll take a short screw, which is this, versus the long screw, as you can see. Short screw and large washer, like that. This goes through here, and this just basically screws right in there. So what I do have to do is get a screwdriver. Should have been prepared before I even started, but that's all right. Let me go get one right now. I'll be right back. So for the rear here, it actually helps a lot to just have a regular tool like this, something ratcheting, so that you can get in between between the wheel and the bumper here. If you don't have something like this, what you could do is always jack up the car and take off the rear wheel. I'm going to keep it simple and just use something like this. So we're just going to line it up and start screwing it in where it needs to go. And you don't want to tighten it down all the way yet, because you want to leave some room for it to for you to be able to maneuver it, so that you know it's perpendicular to the ground. And it looks like for the inner ones as well, it says adjust inner point if needed by pulling gently arm on back, but it's also a short screw and a a large washer and a short screw, of which there is a total of 6, which makes sense. So this goes all the way in there, like that. And this one's probably going to be the hardest one to use a regular screwdriver for. It would help a lot to have this ratcheting screw right here. I'm just going to start this one by hand. That way I can actually fit my ratcheting screwdriver in there. Looks like there's just enough space to use this. It's going to be tight though, so I'm going to start tightening these guys down, and then I have to look from the rear to make sure that it is actually perpendicular to the ground before I tighten everything fully down. Alright, so before I tighten everything down, let's take a look at it from the rear, see how it looks. Let me get this out of the way so you can see it. As you can see right now, it's not exactly facing perpendicular to the ground. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to adjust that a little bit. And once we adjust that, we'll be able to make it exactly perpendicular. I guess perpendicular, as you can see, would be what it looks following my my garage right here. Oops. Let's get that out of the way. Make sure nothing flies away. So let's start adjusting it so that it is perpendicular to the ground. There we go, it's getting closer. It's almost there. Alright, that's pretty darn close. So basically, just have to tighten everything down here, making sure that it stays as perpendicular to the ground as possible. So looks like this one side is done, and you can even look at it from the kind of like side view. You want to make sure that it is nice and flush, like so, and you can always adjust here to kind of see and make sure that it looks good. So let's take a look. There we go. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Maybe I'm gonna push the bracket a little bit forward, because it looks like it's kind of like tilting this way, like that, and I want it to be, you know, parallel with the axle of the car. So with the axle of the car in this direction. So now I think it looks pretty good. Now, I'm not going to be too OCD with it, because it does flap around when you're driving anyway. But overall, I think it looks pretty good now. So now I'm going to do the other side, which I'm not going to show you guys because it's the exact same thing. It's done. Just very classic Subaru Rally look. Definitely like it. I like how it's black and it doesn't really grab attention. And I really like these polyurethane ones. They're the same ones that I had on a Golf R. So really like how they're soft and pliable. So let's go and install the front ones, which are a little bit more involved. So I'm just going to walk you guys through the process of how to install these in the front. The front wheels have to be turned in the direction of the side that you're working on. So in this case, we'll turn this to the right. And then what we're going to do is open the car door so that when we take off the side skirt, it won't get in the way. Now, as you can see here, there's nothing really for the bracket to attach to, which is why we actually have to take off this side skirt right here and pull this trim back so that we can install the bracket. And the bracket looks like this. So this bracket is for the other side. I'll grab this one. And basically this bracket, once we take off the side skirt and the and this piece right here, we'll be able to attach here and here. And as you can see, once it's actually in there, you just basically added these attachment points for the actual mud flap. That's basically how it's going to work. So what I'm going to do is show you the process from beginning to end. Alright, so that's how it looks installed on the front. As you can see, there's a lot of junk building up over the years in the side skirt. Probably a good time to clean it out because weight reduction. So here's how it looks like from the from back view. As you can see, you can still see right here the RallyArmor logo faces towards the back of the car. And from a farther view, you can see that you have to align it perpendicularly to the ground to make it look good. So if there's a little bit of slack, or I should say if you tightened it already and you need a little bit of slack so that you can you know, adjust how perpendicular it is to the ground, you want to just loosen it up and just kind of pull where you need this to go and then tighten it back up. So that's basically how you install RallyArmor mud flaps onto a 2010 Subaru WRX STI. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave it below. I'm Zed for me. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.